Joe Biden's docudrama, you might say, builds as the White House attorneys say 5 more pages yesterday of classified documents were found at Biden's Delaware home. So how would an average government employee, say a soldier or a Marine, be treated if they took classified documents home? Say a Marine Corps bomb technician, for example. Let's ask Fox News contributor Joey Jones, who did that very job. Joey, you can't help but look at it through that lens. Imagine if you brought, just some of your classified homework home.
Yeah, listen, Pete, I don't expect the President of the United States to be held accountable. We've seen time and time again for generations that they play by different rules. Maybe you could ask Richard Nixon what it means to be held accountable from time to time, but not President Biden. We don't expect that. But what we do expect is some honest, a little bit of integrity here when talking about what's happened and what would happen to somebody else. So the American people can take that into consideration when they get ready to vote in about 2.5 years. And so here's the deal, man. I was in EOD school down in Florida for 10.5 months. The entire time I was there, I was exposed to every single bit of information I was exposed to was classified, top secret or lower, but all classified. And if I brought one piece of information, one sentence written down on a notebook home, that was a violation of a security protocol that would get me kicked out of that class, kicked out of that school. It would revoke my security clearance, possibly kicked out of the Marine Corps, and eventually ruin my career as I knew it. And the reason why that's important is that 24 years old, I couldn't bring information home for the specific purpose of helping me study so that I wouldn't die when I became a bomb tech. That's how important this protocol was. It wasn't about taking it home for malicious intent or to share with somebody else. It was for my own needs to try to stay alive. But it was that important that my own life was worth risking over this information. But a president of the United States, or a vice president actually, can take home boxes, it looks like, of stuff, put it in his garage and say, what's the big deal, man? My Corvette was there. And the American people are supposed to turn the eye. What really bothers me is people in the media, some on this network, who want to act like this is no big deal. Well, let me tell you something. The only reason you get to act like that's no big deal is because people like me, and more importantly, my peers that don't have my platform, risk their lives every day playing by these rules. Go out and do a job that could kill you today, but still playing by these rules. And if those 24-year-olds can do it, why in the world can a 60-something-year-old vice president do it?
It's exactly right. Very well said. The double standard is blatant, and it's going to get worse as we learn who might have had access to it. Hunter Biden lived there, how many years they were there, where they're actually stored. It's sheer recklessness. Real quick, I want to get your thoughts.
If I had someone like Hunter Biden living with me, I'd be kicked out of the Marine Corps anyway. But that's a different
that's
topic.
true. That's true. He tried enlisting.
Too much cocaine and drugs.
Didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
Wasn't able to do it.
Yeah.
Real quick, Joey, we had the wife of Navy Lieutenant Ridge Elkonis on the program earlier. Name's Brittany. Her husband's been in jail in Japan for 6 months, has a 3-year sentence. Here's what she said about what happened to him and what's happening to them still. Listen.
We went hiking as a family up Mount Fuji, and as we were driving down the mountain, he was mid-conversation with my daughter, and he just blacked out. And my daughter tried to wake him. It did not work. We were in a car accident. That did not wake him at all. He was convicted of negligent driving, resulting in death or injury, but a medical emergency like a heart attack, a stroke, a seizure, that is not a crime in America, and it is also not a crime in Japan. It's unimaginable. You dedicate a decade of your life to serving your country, and they have abandoned my husband.
Joey, it was a tragic accident. He's still in jail. They feel like the DOD turned their backs on them. Japan's an ally. What should be done here? Why?
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about feeling abandoned. We can't get people to enlist into the military, and then we have stories like this every single day. Maybe if he had just went to Russia and did some drugs, it'd be a different story. I don't know. I think he should be brought home. I don't think they had the opportunity to present their case to that court to show his medical emergency. Some medical testimony was not allowed in, and that alone is enough for the president to step in. And let me tell you, our relationship with Japan, a boots-on-the-ground relationship, is very tenuous. We have Japanese Okinawans protesting all the time that we're there, and we should really reevaluate that.
Yeah, there are sensitivities there, but then there's having the backs of a guy who should not be in prison, no doubt.
Yeah, if we're going to provide their military for them, they can take care of us, or at least our president can ask them to send him home.
Absolutely
That's
right.
what I say.
I agree. And Joey Jones, I see that pin. Congratulations on your dogs.
Go Dogs.
I know you're happy. Good to see you, man. Good to see
Two
you.
in a
Hope to see
row.
you soon. 2 in a row. It's
Take
true.
care, brother.
You got it.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.